श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। एवं क्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्ये सर्वदा। गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णु गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। गुरवे सर्वलोकानां भिषजे पौरोगिणां निधे सर्वविद्यानां श्रीदक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। व्यासमष्टनप्तारं शक्ते पौत्रमकल्मषं पराशरात्मजं वन्दे शुकदातं तपोनिधिम्। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। मूकं करोति वाचालं पङ्गुं लङ्घयते गिरिं यत्कृपातमं वन्दे परमानन्दमाधवं। नारायणपरो व्यक्तादण्डमव्यक्तसन्नुभवं मण्डस्यान्तस्तु मे लोकाः सप्तद्वीपा च मेदिनी। तात्ताय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणे स्वयं व्यासेन कृतितं पुराणमुनिनां मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीमष्टादशाध्यायिनीं त्वामनुसन्दधामि भगवद्गीते द्वेषिणीम् अवतीर्णश्च कालट्यां केदारीन्तरितश्च चतुष्पीठप्रतिष्ठादायेदाच्चङ्गरो गृहः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। So we previously were looking at the 38th shloka. धूमेन आव्रियते वह्निर् यथादर्शो मलेन च यथोल्बेन आवृतो गर्भस्तदा तेनेदम् आवृतम्. So just as fire is enveloped by smoke and mirror by dirt and fetus remains enclosed in the womb, so this is shrouded by that. So that here is the desire. So in explaining what is this here, so because that shloka concludes on tenedam avrutam, tena idam avrutam. So what is this here Bhagavan mentioning? That's what we're looking at. That's in the 39th shloka, where he says that आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पूरेण अनलेन च. O son of Kunti, knowledge is covered by constant enemy of the wise in the form of desire, which is unsatiable fire. So third, this is covered by that in the previous shloka. So this here, idam, that word idam, tena idam, in the previous shloka, in the 38th shloka, idam, here Bhagavan says that, what is that? Avrutam jnanametena jnanam. That knowledge is covered by this dust or this smoke or this womb, which is mentioned in the previous shlokas. It is covered by this desire, covers like that. So avrutam means covered, jnanam means knowledge, etena means by this, jnanaihi means of the wise, jnanina means the wise, nitya means by the perpetual enemy, kamarupena means in the form of desires, kaunteya means Arjuna, Kunti's son, dushpurena means insatiable, analena means like fire, cha means and. So here Bhagavan explains that knowledge is covered by this constant enemy of the wise. So again, this constant enemy, here we are talking about the desire, because the wise person knows even earlier that I am being induced by this into evil. So when he engages in something, he knows that I'm being induced by this evil. This desire is taking me there. That's what the wise person already knows. And he always, both at the time when the desire arises in him and also when he is forced to act by it, he always feels distressed. Okay. Therefore, it is constant enemy of the wise, this desire, but not of the fools. The fool, on the other hand, because the fool, on the other hand, looks upon the desire as a friend, so long as the hankering lasts. So as long as he desires for those results, hankering remains, he thinks that desire is his friend. So We also say that, right? One should have these desires and then only can achieve all these things. Right? So the desire we are talking about is the material desire. What Bhagavad Gita is Shastras, our Shastra says, the only desire one should have is attaining that Atmajnana. Everything else is irrelevant. So when sorrow comes as a consequence of that desire, that person realizes that I've been driven out into this sorrow because of the longings. Because I longed for all those things, I had hankering for all those things, that's why I'm in this sorrow. But before that, he will not realize. That's what Acharya says here. Therefore, it is constant enemy of the wise alone. The wise person always uh, sees desires as his enemy, but not the fool. So again, jnanam here, that means derivative meaning that through that which something is known. Okay, that is the mind or the discriminative knowledge pointed out by the word idam in the previous verse. So he is covered by this, that is by this desire. Still, being a source of momentary joy, it may be acceptable. Hence, Bhagavan says that nitya vairina, by constant enemy, okay, of the wise. And because an unwise man, after being regarded desire as a friend during the enjoyment of an object, he does not know that it's enmity, and he does not know its enmity. And when he experienced sorrow as a result of that, he thinks that I've been made sorrowful by the desire. Whereas the wise person, even during the enjoyment or even when drawn into by that desire, he thinks that I'm forced into this evil, this device, by this desire. So a discriminating person is smitten by sorrow during the enjoyment as also during the consequences, its consequences. Thus, it is constant enemy of the wise. Hence, it surely has to be destroyed by him in every way. That's the meaning here. And in what form? Kama rupena, in the form of desire, that which has wish itself as its expression is kamarupa. So the one which has wish itself as its expression is kamarupa. So in that form, and which is unsatiable, so it never cannot be satisfied. Fire, so in the form of the fire, so agni can never be satisfied. Okay, the more you give it, the more brighter it becomes. So that which is difficult to satisfy, and derivatively that which never has enough. Uh, so again, analam is the word used here. Analena. Analam means that never has enough. Alam means has enough. So it never has enough. So that's has enough. And analam means that never has enough. So like that fire, that's why it's called fire. It's analam, anila. So that fire never satisfied. Just like that, this also is kamarupa. This is never satisfied. So again, what is the nature of that desire? He says that it is kamarupa, kamarupena, in the form of desire. Means kama means desire, thirst, in the form of that which has very characteristics. Again, by addressing Arjuna here as son of Kunti Kaunteya, Bhagavan says that he discloses his love for Arjuna. And now the question might come, is it not that even though the desire has to be destroyed by the discriminating man, it may be acceptable to those non-discriminating? And Bhagavan, that's why he says that dushpurena analena cha, like unsatiable fire. And here the cha is used as a word of comparison, like that he is comparing to the fire. So even though which has no sufficiency, satisfaction, contentment, is analam. So alam. Alam is sufficiency. Ana prefix adds to that makes it analam. So that is no sufficiency. And just as fire can never be satisfied with the oblations, so this man of enjoyment, he cannot be never be satisfied. You have one desire, you want to have a house first, for example, house, you get it finally after our mortgage and whatever. Then you think that house, I want to add one more room or want to do this decoration and change this and then do something and then another extension house is small. I need to build something more and then I build something a little bit shed outside and that shed is not sufficient. Now you want to make that office room or a garden room and you want to convert that garden room into another proper room extension to the house and the list goes on. Whatever you take a small thing, you start with the small thing and then the list continues and keeps growing. So that's what here desire is like that. It's like a fire. It keeps spreading. That's why, hence it is constantly the cause of sorrow. Therefore, it should be destroyed even by non-discriminating man, not just for the discriminating ones. Non-discriminating man also has to destroy this. And that's what the Shrutis also says. For example, Shruti Smritis also says the same thing. Here, for example, if you look at Bhagavata Purana, na jatu kamaha kamanam upabhogena shyamadi havisha krishna vartneva bhuya evabhi vardate. What it says is the desire of sensual people does not ever become satiated through enjoyment like fire through ghee, it increases furthermore indeed. That's what Bhagavata Purana says. And Manusmriti also, similar statement, Manusmriti, for example, says, it says, akamasya kriya kachid drishyate naiha karhichid yad yad hi kurute kim chit tat tat kamasya chestidam. No action is ever found in this world to be done by a man entirely without desires. Whatever man does is the outcome of the desires. That's what Manusmriti says. Again, or we can look at this as since a wish is quenched through the acquisition of the wished objects, therefore the desire in the form of the wish will cease by itself through the enjoyment option. Why then there is so much insistence on this matter? That could be the question. So you could ask that, so I could be satisfied by having this wish fulfilled. So why there is so much insistence that this desire is bad? That's why Bhagavan says that Dushpurina Analenicha, like insatiable fire, even though the wish may disappear for the time being on the acquisition of an object, yet since it appears again, therefore the acquisition of an object is not the remover of the desire. So what we are looking for is the remover of the desire. So remove the desire not by acquiring something, but it is only through the perception of the defects in the objects itself. So if you start seeing the defects in those objects, I want a car, I want a house, I want children, I want whatever I want, I desire, right? All those desires, if you start seeing the defects in them, saying that what defect we are talking here, again, these are all temporary. This is not permanent. The only one thing that's nityam is that Atmajnana is the only thing that's nityam. That is the Paramananda. That's the ultimate happiness, right? So these are all temporary happiness. So you want a food. Okay, I desire for this food. How long you can eat, enjoy that food? First bite, second bite, third bite. You can't keep on eating, right? So it is like that. So object, till we find the defects in those objects, the desires remain. So that's the idea here. And now Bhagavan starts explaining the seat of the desire. Where does this desire sit? So you say that desire is the enemy, and that's the one that prevents one attaining jnana. So where does this desire sit? So Bhagavan says, the question is, having what as its abode, its residence, does this desire in the form of veil over the knowledge, so it's covering that knowledge, it becomes the enemy of all. Where does it reside? So since when the adobe of an enemy is known, it is possible to easily kill that enemy. That's why the next shloka comes in, the 40th shloka, where Bhagavan says that Indriyani mano buddhir asya adhishthana muchyate eter vimohe yastesha jnanam avritya dehinam. The organs, the mind, the buddhi, intellect are said to be its adobe. This one diversely deludes the embodied beings by veiling knowledge with help of this. That's the meaning. Indriyani means the senses or the organs. Mana means the mind. Buddhi means intellect. Asya means of this. Adhishtanam means dwelling place. Uchyate means are said to be. Etai means by this. Vimoheti means deludes. Esha means this. Jnanam means knowledge. Avritya means clouds. Dehinam means this embodied soul, this the jiva. So Indriyani, the organs, mind and buddhi, organ, manas, buddhi, are said to be its in the sense the desire adobe. And this one, that is the desire, esha means this one, the desire, diversely deludes the embodied being by veiling by veiling the knowledge with the help of these organs or senses, etc., buddhi, manas, etc., which are its adobe. The activities of the organs, etc., are the media for the expression of desire. Desires cover the knowledge of the Atma by simulating these organs or senses and buddhi, manas, and things like that. So the organs, that is the organs of hearing and so on, which are the perceivers of sound and so on, sensations and form, color, taste, odor, and things like that. And then the organs of action, for example, speech and so on, which are the, again, cause of talking, grasping, movement, and things like that. And manas, mind, consisting of thoughts, and buddhi, intellect, consisting of judgment. So this is again difference between manas and buddhi is manas is samshayatmaka. It is a thought. Okay, it doesn't have a conviction in it. Okay, it is saying manas. It is thinking. I'm thinking whether to go this direction or that. I'm thinking whether to eat this or that. Okay, buddhi is I want to eat this. I want to go in this direction. I want to do that. It is conviction. Okay, it is a judgment. Buddhi consists of that judgment. Manas is chanchala. Buddhi is nishchayatmaka. So it is nishchaya. So it is having that judgment in it, buddhi. So all these organs, indriyas, manas, indriyas includes both karmendriya and jnanendriyas. So sense organs and the organs of actions and the sense organs and manas, buddhi are said to be the adobe or the shelter of this desire, because this desire, by covering the knowledge, that is the discriminating power, discriminating wisdom, deludes in various ways. It deludes in various ways this embodied one, the one who has identification with this body. With the help of this, with the help of the organs which are engaged in the respective activities and or its adobe. So that's what Bhagavan says. Now we know where this desire resides, where the enemy is residing. Now it is easy to kill that desire, right? So that's why Bhagavan says in the next shloka how to kill our desire. So the next shloka, 41st shloka, goes like Tasmat tvam indriyanyadho niyamya bharatarshaba papmanam rajahi hena jnana vijnana nashanam. O Bharatarshaba, O the son of Bharata dynasty, after first controlling the organs, renounce this one, which is sinful and destroyers of the learning and wisdom. Tasmat means therefore, Tam means you, Indriyani means senses, Adho means in the very beginning, Niyamya means having controlled, Bharatarshava is addressing Arjuna, Papmanam means of the sinful, Prajahi means slay, kill, he means certainly, Yenam means this, Jnana means knowledge, Vijnanam means realization, Nashanam means the destroyer. So Bhagavan here says that, O Bharatarshava, O Arjuna, O the one who born in Bharata dynasty, after controlling the organs, after controlling the Indriyani, the organs, renounce Prajahihi, so renounce or kill or end this one, the enemy which we are discussing, the desire, which is sinful, which is desire that is that leads to sinning, that leads to sinful actions, and also that desire, a destroyer of the learning and wisdom, jnana vijnana. Jnana is the learning, means the knowledge about the Atma and so on, from the Shāstras, from the teacher and things like that. That is jnana. Vijnana is the wisdom, with the means of full experience of that renounce, that is discard from yourself, discard. So that is the discard. So from yourself, the destroyer of all the two learnings that comes through here, which are achievements to the moksha. So jnana and vijnana. So jnana is jnana is the knowledge that comes from Shastras and Guru. Vijnana is experiencing it. Okay. So for example, hearing this Bhagavad Gita, this Atma Jnana, this, all this, okay, we'll practice in Sankhya Yoga and hear all this about knowledge of Atma, right? So we heard about that's hearing that is the jnana. Vijnana is experiencing that, getting to that stage and experiencing. So this desire is the one that destroys all that. Even that this jnana vijnana is the means to achievement to the moksha, and that's the one that kills. So, again, since the desire which has the adobe in its organs, it dilutes the embodied beings. Therefore, after controlling the organs, the ears and so on, the organs of actions and sense organs, first, before being diluted or being controlled, before being deluded or before controlling the desire, so do this. What? Because when they are controlled, when these organs are controlled, the control of the mind and the buddhi are also accomplished, because thought and judgment becomes the cause of the evil through the activities of the external organs and the sense organs. Hence, even after mentioning them before separately in the shloka where Bhagavan said previously, Indriyani, Manobuddhi and so on in the 40th shloka, here in this verse, it is only said that the organ. So, Indriyani, so if you look at previous shloka where it said Indriyani, Manobuddhi, okay, Indriyas, Manas and Buddhi. And Indriyas, we said both Indriyas included, right? So Manas, Buddhi was included. Here, he talks about only Indriyani Prajahit. So why he is talking about only Indriyas? Because it's already mentioned. Indriyas, when you talk about Indriyas, you are also mentioning Manas and Buddhis as well, controlling them as well. So first you control Indriyas, Manas, Buddhi. So controlling all that, Indriyas here includes all that. That should be understood here. So this one, the desire, the enemy, which is sinful, the root of all the sins, you renounce or kill completely, manifestly, because the conclusion is made here with the kill. Okay, prajahi, ahi means kill again. So kill the enemy here. Okay, so that's what it said. So because again, vijnana, otherwise it is also, desire is also destroyer of the jnana vijnana. Now the question is it not that even if it be possible to control the outer organs somehow, say for example, I'm not going to listen anything, I'm not going to see anything, I'm not going to speak of anything or do anything and or anything, so my outer organs, it is very difficult to give up on internal hankering. I might be closing my eyes, but I'm still saying a lot of things. Right? I'm not trying to listen anything, but I'm still listening maybe. Or my desires for listening still remains. Okay. My taste buds, I'm saying I'm not eating anything, but my taste buds saying I want to eat that. My desire for eating something remains. Right. So it is very difficult to give up, isn't it? So that's the question. Here the answer is no, because it is already said in the previous chapter, Sankhya Yoga, if you remember, 59th Shloka, where Bhagavan said, Vishya vinivartante viraharse dehina rasavarjam rasopyasya param drushta nivartate. There he has said, even the taste of this person falls away after realizing that absolute. So one decides that the objects I'm looking at or desiring are not good. Okay, as we looked at in the previous shloka, then Vishaya Vinivartanti Vyarthidena Sarasavarjima Sopyasa. So for him, everything falls off. All those desires falls off. The realization of the supreme reality is the means of rejecting hankering for all these things. That's why the word rasa was used there. So then the question is, in that case, who is the supreme one on the realization of whom there is a cessation of this hankering? So who is that supreme one? So anticipating this question, Bhagavan points out the pure Atma denoted by the word para, the supreme one, by distinguishing it from the body. So again, it has been said that after first controlling the organs, renounce the desire, which is the enemy, right? So that's what Bhagavan said. Controlling the organs, desire, renounce this desire, this enemy or kill this enemy in the form of desire. So to that, by taking the support of what should one give up the desire? So now two ways to look at this question. So two ways to look at the next shloka, the bridge or the step to the next shloka. So the one is saying that by taking what support I can kill this enemy, right? So he's saying that control the organs, manas, buddhis, and things like that. Now, what support is there for me? Who can support me in that front, right? Or the question is, who is the supreme one who is going to help me? Okay, who is going to help me? So it is to that Bhagavan answers here in the 42nd shloka. Indriyani paranyahur indriyebhya param manah manastastu para buddhiryo buddhehe paratastu saha. They say that the organs are superior to this gross body. The mind is superior to organs, but the intellect or the buddhi is superior to the mind. However, the one who is superior to the intellect is he. So indriyani, the senses or the organs, parani means superior, ahu means are said, indriyebhya means than the senses, param means superior, mana means mind, manasaha means than the mind, tu means but, para means superior, buddhi means intellect, iha means who, buddhe means than intellect, parataha means more superior, tu means but, saha means that. Okay, saha means that. Here it's talking about that Atma, self. So the learned ones say that the five organs, the organs of vision, hankering, taste, smell, and touch, and 5 organs of action, speed, speech, excretion, generation, organs of these 5. Again, uh, these are superior uh, to the external, gross, limited body from the point of view of subtlety, inner position, and pervasive, and so on. They are superior. So again, Ahu means they. That means the learned persons. Those are the Shrutis says that this is what the Shrutis also says. As compared to the gross, insentient, limited external body, the organs, the 5 sense organs or karmendriyas are superior because being subtle, being revealers, being pervasive, being located inside. Okay, so they are superior. So at least they can take us to somewhere, right? So they can make us to do something than rest of the body we have. So the indriyas at least give us something to, let's say, perform puja or listen to a devotional music or something like that, or see a procession of devata going or something like that. Okay, it will at least better than the rest of the body. But so also mana, mind, that having the nature of thinking, the sankalpa, the and doubting. Okay, so vikalpa. So the manaha has the nature of thinking, sankalpa and vikalpa. So it is the nature of thinking and doubting. That's the manaha. Sankalpa is the will, volition, intention, thought, reflection, imagination, and so on. Vikalpa is the doubt, uncertainty, indecision, suspicion, error, and so on. So compared to the Indriyas, the manaha is param, is superior. Okay, to manas is superior to those organs or senses. So, and similarly, buddhi, the intellect, having the nature of determination, nischaya, is superior to the mind, is superior to the manas. So, because the judgment is the same as the certitude, and such functions of the mind as reflection, doubt, and so on are preceded by the judgment. That's why it is superior. Now, and Bhagavan says, and the one who is the innermost as compared with all the objects of perception, ending with the buddhi, and with regard to which dweller in this body. So again, dweller is uh, talking about the Atmasta here, in this body, is said to be the said that desire in association with what its adobe counting from the organs deludes that Atmavastu by shrouding the knowledge, and that one is, however, superior to the buddhi, and he, that is the supreme self, the Paramatma, is the witness of that buddhi. He is the witness. Okay, he is not the one who is doing it. He is the witness, and that Paramatma is the superior. And we see that in the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad as well. For example, that one which is this, that one which is this Atma, this self, has entered here into the bodies and so on. So here also the embodied one, though separated from buddhi, from mahat, from avyakta, is referred by the pronoun tat. Okay, that is saha, is said here, and that is again with regard to this. Again, Shrutis also says the same thing. For example, Katha Upanishad says that indriyebhya para yartha artebhya param manah manastastu para buddhir buddhiratma mahan paraha, and mahata paramavyaktam avyaktat purushah paraha Purushan param kinchit sa kashta sa paragatihi. So that's what Katha Upanishad says. So the meaning is the sense objects are higher than the senses, and the mind is higher than the senses. The but the buddhi is higher than the mind, and the great Atma, the Paramatma, is higher than the buddhi. And the unmanifested is higher than the Mahat, and Purusha is the higher than unmanifest, and there is nothing higher than the Purusha. He is the culmination, he is the highest goal. That's what Katha Upanishad says. And again, as compared with the buddhi, with the individual intellects of ours and others, the Mahan Atma, the great soul in the form of aggregate of all the intellect, is higher. That's what being said here. So then Bhagavan in the next shloka, he says that evam buddhe param buddhva samstabhya atmanam atmana jai shatrum mahabaho kamarupam durasadam. Understanding the self thus as the superior to intellect and completely establishing the self in spiritual absorption with the help of the mind, O mighty armed one, vanish the enemy in the form of desire, which is difficult to subdue. So if you look back 42nd shloka and 41st shloka and of 41st shloka, we said how to kill. We found where the enemy is, right? That is residing. The desire is in enemy as this indriyas, manobuddhi as its residence. How to kill that? And then Bhagavan said in the 42nd shloka, 41st shloka, how to kill it. Now we were looking at how to kill. Okay, so we looked at in the previous shloka. So indriyas, manas is better than the indriyas, and buddhi is better than manas, and this atma is superior than that buddhi, right? So here he says that understanding the atma is superior intellect. So evam means thus, buddhi means than the buddhi intellect, param means superior, buddhva means knowing, sanstabhya means subdue, atmanam means the lower self, the senses. So again, here two atmas, we will come to that meanings in a second. The first one here means the senses, mind, intellect, and so on. Atmana means the higher self or the Paramatma. Jahi means kill. Shatru means the enemy. Mahabahu is addressing Arjuna, mighty armed one. Kamarupa means in the form of desire. Durasadam means formidable. Kill this formidable enemy. So understanding the Atma, the self, thus understanding the Atma, thus understanding thus here means that the desires can be conquered through the knowledge of Atma. So understanding the Atma like that as superior, as said in the previous shloka, understanding like that, understanding thus as superior to the buddhi and completely establishing with the mind. So the first atmanam means the self, and atmana means the mind. So establishing like that, so that is establishing the atma fully in the spiritual absorption with the help of your own purified mind, that is the regenerated or purified mind, the self, the atmanas, which again is the means of attaining the self composure. So manas samadhana. So that's what one can attain here. So by understanding that atma as the superior to the buddhi and establishing completely in the mind, one can purify the mind. O Arjuna, vanish this enemy, kamarupam, in the form of desire, which is difficult to subdue, which can be got hold of with great difficulty, but it is difficult, can be got hold of still. it being possessed of many inscrutable characteristics. So that enemy get hold of that control, that subdue that one. That's what Bhagavan says in this shloka. And then with that, uh, this adhyaya completes. Swastisri Srimad Bhagavad Gita Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Sri Krishna Arjuna Sammade Karma Yogo Nama Tritiyaha. Sri Krishna Arpanamastu. So we concluded this adhyaya. So just to recap on this adhyaya, Karma Yoga, Acharya Shankara starts with this explaining again Arjuna's perplexity in terms of Bhagavan explained in the previous adhyaya Sankhya Yoga. He said, talked about jnana, right? Atma jnana and the sthita prajna, the characteristics of that the prajna, and also he said perform karma yoga, desires without any desire, without any hankering, perform the karmas. He said all those things. Arjuna was confused and he was explaining. So Arjuna confused and but also here Acharya here explains there is no conjunction of knowledge and action. So if one thought that Sankhya Yoga was saying jnana and karma goes together, knowledge and action goes together, that's not the case. And renunciation is enjoined in the scriptures. Moksha cannot be effect of the action. So karmas cannot lead to moksha. It is not the effect of action, but it will lead to purification of mind, which will result in jnana, and then that knowledge is the uh, uh, results in moksha. Right? So action is not a direct, or action karmas will not have a direct outcome as moksha. So conjunction. That's why what Arjuna is going to ask in these questions in the beginning of this chapter is inconsistent, right? So if one thinks that the knowledge and karmas, jnana and karma go together, that's inconsistent because Arjuna asked in the first shloka, which is better, knowledge or action? Jayasi chet karman, Arjuna uvacha, jayasi chet karmanaste mata buddha janardana, tatkim karmani ghore mam niyojasi keshva, vyamishreneva vakyena buddhi mohaye svvp तदेकं वद निश्चित्य येन श्रेयो यात्. So tad ekam vada nischitya, right? So tell me that one which is Shreyas. So that's what he asked. So he does not ask that, okay, you told both about jnana and karma, I'm going to perform both, so I'm assuming you are saying both, right? So it confirms that these two or both are good. So he says that tad ekam vada nischitya. So we looked at that in detail. So then we looked at the paths of knowledge and action was explained by Acharya as we lead to the third shloka. And he said that Acharya also explained that the karma yoga leads to freedom from karmas. So karma yoga leads to freedom from karmas itself. So once one continues to perform the karmas, the purification of mind leads to detachment and karma yoga. The karma yoga will leads to freedom from the karmas itself. So once one performs the karmas without any hankering, Ishwarartham once performs, it leads to freedom from the karmas itself. So Sri Bhagavan Uvacha Lokesmin Divida Nishta Pura Prokta Mayanaka Jnana Yogena Sankyanam Karma Yogena Yoginam Na Karmana Manaramba Naishkarmyam Purushoshnate Nacha Sanyasa Nadeva Siddhim Samadhigachati. So two methods were told by me previously, right? So Jnana Yogena Sankyanam Karma Yogena Yoginam. So for Trivarnikas, Jnana Yoga was said, Karma Yoga is for those who are not there in that state, purification of mind. And then Bhagavan explains that the ignorant are swayed by their prakriti. Nahi kaschit karmanemapi jato tishtatya karmana krita karyate evashah karma sarvah prakriter rjayat gunaihi. So the ignorant are swayed by those prakriti. And he explains that the unenlightened should not give up on the karma yoga. Karmendriyani samyamya yaste manasa smaran indriyartar vimudhatma mityachara sa uchyate yastindriyani manasa niyamya niyamyarambhate arjuna karmendriye karma yoga asakta sa vishishyate niyatam kuru karmatvam karmajyayo karmana sharira yatra picha tena prasiddhe the karmanah यज्ञार्थात् कर्मणो नेत्र लोकोयं कर्मबन्धनः तदर्थं कर्म कौन्तेय मुक्तसंगसमाचरः. Now he explains that Prajapati on giving giving the devatas nitya karmas and things like that. Sahajna praja srishta purovacha Prajapati anena prasa vishyadva mesha vostishtas kamadug devan bhavaya तानेन ते देवा भावयन्तु वः परस्परं भावयन्तः श्रेय परमवाप्स्यतः इष्टान् भोगान् वो देवा दास्यन्ते यज्ञभाविताः तैर्दत्तान् अप्रदायैर्भ्यो यो भुङ्क्ते स्तेन एव यज्ञशिष्टान् सन्तो मुच्यन्ते सर्वकल्भिषै भुञ्जते त्वं त्वगं पापा ये पचन्त्यात्मकर्मणाम्. So Brahma Prajapati previously said he created devas, and from devas he created devan bhavayate deva bhavayantu. So in that he says that from devatas created, and then they expect yajnas, and from yajnas they are satisfied and they give the rain and things like that. So from that the people multiply, right? So anyone who is not offering the sacrifices, they are eating the sins only. Then that wheel of world was again, Bhagavan says that wheel of the world should be set going. Nad bhavanti bhutani parjanya dhanna sambhuva yajnat bhavati parjanyo yajna karma samudbhuva karma brahmodbhavam vidhi brahmakshara samudbhavam tatsmat sarvagatam brahma nityam yajna pratishthitam evam pravartitam chakram nanuvarti yatihaya agayurindriya ramo mogam bharta sajivita jivati. So from annas lives creatures live, and from that indriya. So anna comes from the rain, and rain comes from yajna comes from again karma, right? So karma from karma brahmodbhavam. So like this he explains. So this cycle of the world should be set going, and then Bhagavan explains that karma yoga is not meant for the self-knower. The Brahmajnani is not for the karma yoga. So in the 17th, 18th shloka, he explains that in the 17th shloka, he explains that the yasmat taterideva syadatma triptascha manavah atmanneva cha santushtastasya karyam na vidyate naiva tasya kritenato na kriteneha kaschana na chasya sarvabhudeshu kaschidartha vyapahashreya. And then he says that so in the 17th, 18th, he said that karma yoga not meant for atmajnani, but in the next shloka he says that Arjuna, you are qualified for the karma yoga. He says that tasmad asaktah satatam karyam karma samachara asakto hacharan karma paramapnoti purusha. So then he explains the why should set an example to the masses. Right? So Arjuna here instructs Arjuna to perform the karma yoga, and he says that you should perform because you are a wise person, you are a leader, you should set an example. So he explains about Janaka and others. Bhagavan explains karmana he samsiddhi mastita janaka adhe loka sangrame vapi sampashyan kartumarrasi yadyad acharati risheshtastadde vetaro janah sa yat pramanam krute lokastadanuvartade name partasti kartavyam trishullokesu kinchana nanava vaptamavaptavyam vartaye vacha karmani. So I don't have anything to attain by performing the karmas. Still, I perform these karmas. But Bhagavan says nobody else can say that. Yadi hem na varteyam jatu karmanyatindridha mam vartmano vartante manushya partha sarvasha uchchide rime loka na kuryam karma chedaham sankarasya chakarta syamo pahanya mimaha prajaha. Then he explains that the wise man's actions as contrasted with that of the ignorant. Right? From 25th onwards, he explains, 25th shloka onwards, Saktah karmanya vidvamso yatha kurvanti bharata kuryat vidvams tada saktaschikeshur loka sangramam na buddhi vedam jane जनेद अज्ञानम कर्म संगिनाम जोशयेत सर्वकर्माणि विद्यानुक्त समाचरण प्रकृते क्रियमाणानि गुणे कर्माणि सर्वश अहंकार विमूढ़ात्मा कर्ताहमिति मन्यते तत्त्वमित्त महाभागो गुणकर्म विभागयोः गुणागुणेषु वर्तन्त इति मत्वा न सज्जते प्रकृतेर्गुणसम्मूढा सज्जन्ते गुणकर्मसु तान् कृत्स्नविधो मंदान् कृत्स्न भिन्न विशालयेत्. So he explains that. Then he says that how an aspirant for moksha should do his actions. From 30th shloka, Mai sarvani karmani sanyasya dhyatma chetasa nirashir nirmamo bhutva yudhyasya vigatas jara ye me matavidam nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto anasuyanto muchanti iti karmabhi ye tveta अभ्यसूयन्ते नानुतिष्ठन्ति मे मतं सर्वज्ञान विमूढां तान् विद्धि नष्टान चेतसः. So in that 30th to 32nd shloka, he explains how an aspirant of the moksha should do his action. And then he says, he explains that influence of the man's prakriti on his conduct. He explains in the 33rd shloka where he says, Sadrusham cheshtate स्वास्याः प्रकृते ज्ञानवानपि प्रकृतिं यान्ति भूतानि निग्रह किं करिष्यति. Then how to control that? He says that scope for man's personal exertion. So he explains that indriyas indriyarthe ragadveshu avastito tayorna vashamagatchet tau yasya paripantino shreyan sudharmo vigunaha paradharma sanushtitat sudharme vidaram shreya paradharma bhayavaha. So performing one's own dharma is, even though it is not full, complete, it is not even though it is not 100%, it is better than performing 100% or 110% of others' dharma. Right? So this is again true. And then Arjuna asks the question, Atakena prayoktayam papam chariti purusha anichannapi vashneya bala diva niyojasi. So why people still perform all these evil karmas, like other people's karmas and things like that? Bhagavan explains that this is because of the desire. So that's where the desire related shloka starts from 37 and it goes up to 43rd, where he explains how to kill it. So Sri Bhagavan uvacha kamayesha krodesha rajogana sodbhava mahashano mahapapma vidhe and iha vairidam. Then he explains desire enshrouds the wisdom. Dhumena navriyate vanir yata darsho malena cha yatolbhen avruto garbhastada tena eda mavratam. Then आवृतं ज्ञानमेतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिण कामरूपेण कौन्तेय दुष्पूरेण अनलेन च. So then he explains where the desire sits. Indriyani manobuddhi indriyani manobuddhirasyaadhishthanamuchyate eter vimohe yattesha jnanamavrutti dehinam. Then in the last 3 shlokas he explains how to kill that desire, where you found where it resides, kill it. Tasmad त्वमिन्द्रियाण्यादो नियम्य भरतर्षभ पाप्मानं प्रजहि हेन ज्ञान विज्ञान नाशनम इंद्रियाणि पराण्याहुरिंद्रिये Indriyebhya param manah manastastu para buddhiryo buddhe parastastu saha evam buddhe param badva samstabhyatmana matmana jai shatram mahabaho kamurupam durasadam. So he explains like that. So you have to kill thinking that Paramatma is the superior to everything and all the objects you have for desire. Paramatma is the superior. So once you start desiring that, every other desire will disappear. So that's how you kill that desire. Then your mind, the indriyas, mind, buddhi, everything will be on that. So your buddhi, you start thinking that in your buddhi, nischayatmaka, from conviction, think that with conviction, thinks that is the superior, that is the supreme happiness. I keep repeating that. So that's Shloka. So just like that, where we have flood around, when you have that happiness, there is nothing else. Think when you have that buddhi always thinking like that, then manas also goes in that. Then the indriyas align to that. So that's what Bhagavan says. So this karma yoga, Bhagavan again explains here the importance of knowledge, moksha, the attaining that. But through karma yoga, perform the karmas because the ignorants are eligible for these karmas and one should perform that karma. He explains that. So again, for majority of Bhagavad Gita listeners, this yoga is very important because moksha is everyone's objective, everyone's desire should be moksha, but to attain that one should have chitta shuddhi, purification of mind, and purification of mind can come only through karmas, performing the karmas. I keep repeating, assume moksha is 10th step, 100th step, 1000th step, whatever it is you want to call. You have to start the first step. There is no lift that taking directly to Jnana Yoga in the 500th step. So from there I can climb. There is no that. So you have to start from the first step. So that first step is performing the karmas. Now, then question comes, what is the karma? Which karma is right karma? Right? So nitya karmas one has to perform. Sadharana dharma one has to have. One should perform. The acharas one has to perform. Okay, the sadachara, whatever that one is, the smritis say, the dharma shastra one has to follow. So all these things. Now there is so many things said. Which one I should perform? That's where Bhagavan also explained in this chapter. Swadharma, one should perform Swadharma. What is one Swadharma? One should perform that. Okay. Just because someone else does it doesn't mean that I have to do this. That may not be my dharma. So I touched on while explaining some of these shlokas. It is very important. Even though many of our shlokas or stotras or Puranas or Bhagavad Gita or Śāstra namas or very other things, they all at some point say that reciting that, doing japa or parayana or all those things will give this and this. Okay? What we hear is only that part to this. Those things do not explain whether you can do it or not. Okay, say for example, just taking Vishnu Sahasranama as an example, right? Brahmanas will get Vedas and Kshatriya will get victory and Vaishyas will get wealth and Shudra Sugamapniyat and so on. It explains, right? So you will get all those things. So now, does it mean Vishnu Sahasranama does not say who can do what, who can chant this Vishnu Sahasranama or who cannot chant and things like that. You have to look at lot of things, understand whether I can do or not, cannot do, whether I'm qualified to do it, whether I'm not qualified to do. Okay, I just gave one example of Vishnu Sahasranam. It could be anything. Okay, things we see every day. Okay, where there is a satsang happening, you go there, everybody does Gayatri Japa. Is everybody qualified to do Gayatri Japa? Okay, because there will be acharyas. Okay, there will be person who are learned say that Gayatri Japa is the ultimate thing performing. Okay, one who performs Gayatri Japa, everything he has done is all the sins wiped out. That is true. But that Mahatma who said that Gayatri Japa is the ultimate thing does not explain in that assembly of the people who can perform Gayatri Japa, how to perform Gayatri Japa. He does not explain all those things because that's a different topic. Unless one tries to understand who can, how we can, and all those things, all we heard is Gayatri Japa is the superior one. Next day we start doing it. So it is very, very important when we see that these things people are doing this. Am I qualified to do those things? Is it my dharma? Swadharma. Is it my swadharma? Because performing others' dharma will not result in chitta shuddhi. It will accumulate sin only. That's why it is important to perform one's own dharma. I just give Gayatri Japa example, Vishnu Sahasranam example, or whatever. Okay, because the person sitting next to me performs something. Okay, I may not qualify to do that because he does Lalita showed Panchadashari Japa. I can't just Google and start doing that Japa tomorrow. Because he does Shiva Panchakshari Japa, I may not be qualified to do that Shiva Panchakshari Japa. So one has to think Karma Yoga is the second step. Okay, first thing is perform the karma. Swadharma. Okay, that karma, what I perform should be determined by my Swadharma. Swadharma, I already touched on previously. It's based on the Varnashram. So Varnashrama and Varnashrama determines, but then again there are other factors, whether male, female, and all the other things determined, and situation plays and can also influence and things like that. But one has to understand that Swadharma, and then the karmas will come. Okay, so you are X. You are X means you can perform these things. It is like in an office. Okay, you are a secretary. Secretary means you can only do these things. Just because you are a secretary to the CEO of the company, you have access to his calendar and maybe his email. You can't start sending email to everybody in the company saying that tomorrow is holiday, but you'll still get the pay. You can't do that. That's not your role, right? Your secretary, your assistant, your job is to look at the CEO's calendar and probably make sure that if there are a lot of conflict and remove those conflict. So first you need to understand what is that your role is. What is that swadharma is? What is my roles? What is that dharma is good for me, right? Every action everybody can physically, everybody may be able to do. But is that action, is that karma going to result in take me in this direction? That's the question. This Karma Yoga explains that clearly. And I said this important to almost every Bhagavad Gita listener because those who have passed this stage, the jnanis, they don't spend time probably listening to the Bhagavad Gita lectures. Right? Everybody who listens to Bhagavad Gita lectures probably are in this boat only. Okay? And we are all in the same boat. Let's just be honest. I'm including myself. Right? We are all in the same boat. So For us, that's why it is important. This simple. So karma, performing karma is important, and then becomes karma yoga, which is performing the karma, which we looked at in the previous chapter in detail, little bit. Okay, doing the karmas without any desire. So the last part of this chapter from 37th Shloka, Bhagavan said, desire is important, and that's what prevents jnana. So that means don't have that desire. But he still said perform karma. So that means you perform karma without desire, without hankering, without attachment, without thinking that I'm going to get this by performing this puja. Perform it Ishwarartham, Ishvara Preetyartham, Parameshwara Preetyartham. Just that in the Sankalpa, nothing else. Dharmartha Mokshidyartham, Sakala Sinchita, Valasyartham, all those things in the Sankalpa not required. It's just Ishvara Parameshwara Preetyartham. That's what it is. So that's the karma yoga, performing one's own karma, Swadharma. What is it? For Parameshwara Preetyartham, as Parameshwara. With only desire that's there is Parameshwara Preetyartham, nothing else. That's the Karma Yoga list. So we'll look at that in Karma Sannyasa Yoga, Karma Jnana Sannyasa Yoga in the next chapter. We'll go when we go there. But that's why I said this chapter is very important for almost every Bhagavad Gita listeners. This chapter is important. And with that, we will stop today. Krishna.